important to the county. It's important to families. It's important to all stakeholders regarding the issue of migrant deaths. Migrant deaths continues to be an issue that is unaddressed on a national basis sufficiently.
Essentially what we do as forensic anthropologists is that we're trained in archaeology, which is a very careful and controlled process where you recover human remains and artifacts from different locations. And we're using that very same scientific process to recover the migrants. We want to make sure that we are recording all of the information on where they're buried and how they're buried in the cemetery, because all of that could be really important in the identification process, and that's our ultimate goal here, is to make the identifications in order to repatriate those individuals back to their families.
In my experience, trying to locate migrant graves, not just here in Brooks County, but in other counties, there's very little records. There's very little paper trail. So you have to start by asking the people who were on the ground, the law enforcement, the funeral homes that buried them, and most of it is memory recall. After we complete the exhumations, the remains will be transported to Texas State University, where they will be processed. And these individuals were found and buried in a body bag, so they need to be cleaned up so we can look at the skeleton and generate what we call a biological profile. We'll estimate how old they were, whether they were male or female, how tall they were, and all the information we learn from the skeleton also goes into a federal database called NAMUS, the National Unidentified and Missing Persons System. We also submit a DNA sample to the University of North Texas, and that DNA is profiled and put into a federal database that has the potential to help identify people.
Once an identification occurs, we work with the family members, with NGOs like the South Texas Human Rights Center or others in other countries or other states. We also work with the consulate's offices from the country of origin to work on repatriating the remains to the family according to the family's wishes. Now, unfortunately, the federal DNA system, the CODIS system, requires that DNA samples from family members be collected in the presence of U.S. law enforcement. And we realize that this is a difficulty for some families. They might not be comfortable giving DNA to law enforcement, or the family members might not be in the United States at all.
So you have a group here that pretty much puts small issues aside, and at the end of the day, we're going to get things done as it should have been done the right way. So that's what happens when you get a good core of folks that want to collaborate and get these loved ones where they need to get to.